Good morning and welcome to the program Perspectives. Today on Perspectives, we'll just be looking again at Democracy Day. June 12th was Democracy Day for us, and yes, it fell on a Saturday. But here we are, all at home, and still commemorating this very special day. And the question being asked on the lips of many would be that are we on course with our democracy? And with what is coming out of the Nigerian state, the insecurity, people talk about the economy not taking its shape. People talk about muscling. And some people have gone that far to say that we just might be seeing a little bit, a touch of dictatorship in our democracy. But would this be rightly said? And is it really what is happening to us? We've kept this on from 1999 to date, and so we are on a course that we must improve on our democracy, and so it is what's on the lips of many today to talk about our democracy, and of course for men, who saw, who helped us, to fight for our democracy and see this day. And so this morning I'll be doing a long distance call. My long distance call will be going to Ibadan in Oyo State, where I'll be talking with Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Adigun. He's a man who is very much, interested in Nigeria and its democracy. He's one man that wants Nigeria to be on course in its democratic process. But the question will still be asked: is Nigeria on course with her democracy? Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Adigun Badamasi is a retired federal civil servant, a member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Vice President, Jos Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, JASIMA. And he is a commentator on national and international affairs and a public affairs analyst too. So, on the Nigerian scene, Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Adigun Badamasi is my guest this morning by phone. Honorable, good morning, and glad to have you on the show.
Good morning, Mr. Toyi. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank
you. Let me say good morning to our audience out there.
Yes. Well, June 12th, special day for us, and a day we like to commemorate by, those that, paid the ultimate price, so to say, to have us on this path, on our democratic course. And so for you today, June 12th, we saw what happened in some parts of the country, pockets of protesters here and there, and protests were just that they cry that we are not on course with our democracy, and protests that this is not what we wanted. And again, I remember MKO Abiola today, Chief MKO Abiola, who paid the supreme or ultimate price, so to say. Kola Abiola was there, some days back, talking that this is not the democracy that my father wanted. And so many commentaries that we're getting about this democratic process that we're in, that we just may be losing course. And of course, at this critical time, too, people are asking that if democracy is on the right path, why is Nigeria losing it? And again, fears by some people that Nigeria may just be on the brink. For you, your thoughts before we go into the program proper, is our democracy on course?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I think I want to congratulate all of us, Nigerians, that the fact that we are even practicing democracy in itself is something worth congratulating us for. Because obviously, for those of us who were alive and who witnessed the military era, would not want anything of that nature to come back. So, democracy, no matter how bad it is, still far better than being under a dictatorship. Having said that, I think over time, over the years, the past 22 years now, starting from 1999 up to this day, I think we have witnessed the longest stretch of democratic administration in Nigeria. And so far, so good. I think the past few years has given us a different view of what democracy is about. And I think it can only get better with time. Obviously, we don't have what we ought to. We are not where we ought to be. Because I can tell you, right now that, just like you said, Nigeria is on the brink. Just like you said, so many things are in disarray, and people are not sure whether democracy is actually worth practicing or worth sustaining. But I do say that we have to see how we better this democracy, because it's the best form of government we can have for now, as it were. All we need to do is to sit down, be sincere with ourselves, and look at what are the shortcomings here and there and fix them.
Yes, Honorable, again, let's talk about the actors, and players in this democratic process. And we're here talking about the elites, the politicians, so to say. And how much of, the contributions from these stakeholders have we seen to put our democracy on course?
Good. I think the political elites in this country are not taking a very good look at the problem on ground, and they are not being very factual. We tend to pretend, or we tend to behave like the ostrich that buries his head in the sand and believes that nobody is seeing him or her. So you see, there's a problem in the country as it were today, and the political elites are the key actors. And you need to identify the problem and recognize it and acknowledge that there's a problem before you start solving. But you see, most of the political elites in this country are pretending that all is well, whereas that is not the case. And I do say that one of the fundamental of solving any problem is acknowledging that you have a problem on the table, and then you now start looking for what are the solutions to our problem. It's not about grandstanding and trying to prove that you are on top of the situation when obviously you are not. And there is no harm in seeking for assistance and support and help from wherever you can get it to make the country better for everybody. Because the very instance people start feeling uncomfortable, as it is today, the Nigerian economy is so bad to the extent that Nigerians are moving out of this country in droves. People are on their way to Canada, UK, Europe, and all the rest. People are moving out in droves. And these are the brains. These are the people who have the capacity to help the economy to grow. Most of them are going out in droves. And then you have a situation whereby investors are not coming in. The last time I listened to the president, one of the interview he had, he was talking about the youth should behave themselves and keep the peace so investors could come in. No, that's not the reason why the investors will come in. The investors will come in when they see that there are prospects for them to do business and the business thrives. There is security in the country, and security is and still remains the primary duty of any government. And if government is not providing that security all over the country, how do you want the investors to come in and establish businesses and create jobs? That will not happen. So investors are taking out their investment continuously on a daily basis. The stock market is going down continuously, and all the indices you can use to measure the economy are very bad. Unemployment is almost at its highest. Inflation is at double digits. All of those things are things that are pointers that things are not going well. And it still falls on the table of the leadership and the political elites of this country to come together and identify that there are fundamental problems with the country, its structure, its economy, to see how they deal with it, and so that we can move this country forward.
Sad to say that what we also have on ground agitations from all over. People, some people wanting to pull out of, the unity that we have right now. And I go to the east, I go to the southwest, and, even come to the middle belt of the nation. There are agitations about, not staying in this unity that we are parading, so to say. And again, when you see that happening, it shows that there is disaffection, there is mistrust, distrust, and of course suspicion in the polity. Now, talking about how to tie it and how to bring us back as a people, and for us to enjoy this diversity that may be our strength. What are the things that you think that must be, put on the table to have us think alike and think one Nigeria, so to say?
Okay, good. You see, the first thing we must acknowledge first, because whether we like it or not, Nigeria has had Nigeria and Nigerians have had distrust and suspicion of each other. Ab initio from independence. So one of the things we must, and there is this lie that we always tell ourselves. We say the unity of this country is not negotiable. I believe that's a lie, because as Nigerians, except you are talking of the Bible or the Quran, everything is negotiable. You must first get the people to understand that we are going to build this country together. You must not make anybody feel compelled to be part of the country. People must see, Nigerians must see the need for them to be part of this country and the benefits that is accruing thereof. When they see that, that is when they will now work towards having a united country, a country that everybody will be proud of. But when you are compelling a part of this country or some people or subjugating them to make them part of the country, then you continue to have this kind of resistance we are having. Now, let me say this. You can see over time, we had the Biafra War, which was between 1967 and 1970. Now, that has gone, and for some decades now, it has been a reverberating or reoccurring decimal over time. We should ask ourselves, why is this the case? Is it that people are just fomenting trouble, or people are just looking for a way of creating unnecessary problem? If you look at it critically, that is not the case. There are underlying things that are problematic in this country, and each time people feel not being part of the system, they whip up all of this sentiment all over again, and before you know it, the country is under very high tension. And more so this time around, you see from every part of the country, people are agitating for one thing or the other, and that is principally because the level of insecurity in this country is very, very bad. Presently, I'm in Ibadan, Oyo State. Oyo State has been in the news for all sorts of insecurity, banditry, and all of it in the past 1 or 2 years. And that in itself gives the government a kind of a bad light, because people here will start saying, why do we have a government if they cannot protect us? And these are the things we must look at. People who are agitating for the breakup of Nigeria, most of them do not believe that whatever fragment they want to break into is really worth it. But they see the Nigerian state not supporting them enough to get to where they want to be or to live a life that they want to live. So for me, I think the first thing we should put on the table is to renegotiate the unity of this country, with every participant being called to the table and being asked, what are the things you want? What are the things that are possible that we could do that could be mutually beneficial to everybody in the country?
Well, again, as we talk with you, some people say they see a smack of dictatorship in our democracy. And I'll take you back to the NSAS protest and how it ended. Young men and women who are out on the street peacefully to protest, their dissatisfaction with what, the way the country was going and how that ended. And again, the latest one, some would say, would be the Twitter ban that we got. Some people would say that that's taking away the freedom of expression from people too. So, smack of dictatorship in a democracy, how do you assess that?
Well, it's unfortunate what we have, really, but because it puts us in the ranks of countries in the world that are very far in terms of their democratic credentials. It put us in the rank of countries like Somalia, China, and countries that maybe you have more or less outright dictatorship. For somebody like me, I think some of the indications we have seen over time, I really wished that our President Muhammadu Buhari, over time, has imbibed more democratic principles. But some of those things are telling us that the military thing still remains there, which is understandable, but I think it should adjust, because protests in a democracy are fundamental rights. People have a right to protest peacefully, and I still remember the president himself in the days when he was in the opposition has led protests. So there should not be a situation whereby people come out to protest, and then what you meet them with is gunshots or tear gas. I think that would be most unfortunate, and that would show that we are not practicing democracy the way it ought to be. Besides that, we need to look at Twitter ban. For me, I see that as an equivalent of shutting down a radio station or a television station, because this is a platform where people express themselves, people do businesses, and all of that. I believe that there are ways of handling such issues without creating the kind of scene we have created. For somebody like me, it has created a bad image for the country, for the government of this country, and I hope that those that are managing the PR of this country could understand the kind of image it has created. Because it means that people who are even thinking of investing in the country will tell you that if I go to that country and invest, the very instance I have a divergent opinion from that of the government, or maybe I have an opinion that is not in line with that of the government, my business could be shut down. And as a result of that, I'm going to fold up. So it also is in that scares away investors from the system, because they see the country as being gagged in terms of information flow and freedom of expression. And I think this has been a trend that has been more under this administration than the previous ones we have seen in the democracy we are practicing.
Some people also say, I mean, listening to the presidential speech, that speech or address did not address the fundamental issues of the country, that may, tear this country apart. For you, the Democratic Day speech or address to the nation, how did it come? How did it come to you?
Oh, well, I think there are a number of things that the president ought to address, which were not. For me, I think the issue of banditry in the South is becoming very, very serious, and I was expecting specifics in addressing them. I listened to the president's media chat, I think on one of the stations in Lagos when he went to commission the railway line, and he said that he has spoken to 2 governors from the southwestern part of the country and asked them to go and protect their states. And what I expected is this: we have a constitution in this country that vests the powers of the security operatives in this country in the executive arm of government, that is the presidency now. I'm talking about the president and center. And the state governor does not have the power to command even a lance corporal or a corporal in the police force. Now, the question you ask is this: how does the governor protect his state when he doesn't have the control of the paraphernalia of security? I want to cite this very interesting example. Look at recently, the Lagos State governor spent billions of naira to procure arms, ammunition, and logistics equipment for the police force. Billions of naira. Very recently, just about 2 or 3 days ago, I think the president was the one that commissioned those equipment and logistics things. Now, all of those things were given to the Nigerian police force stationed in Lagos State. Now, these are not the police force that the governor of Lagos State control. He doesn't have any control over them. If he gives an instruction and the commissioner of police is not aligned to it, he has to clear with Abuja before he acts on anything he says. Now, that puts a very big problem on the issue of security. I was expecting that the president will assist the governors by sending a bill to the a constitutional amendment bill to the National Assembly, asking for the states to be able to organize and run their own police force. Now, this would be a fundamental change and a problem-solving situation for us. Because if every state is able to have its own police force, the governor of the state would then be held responsible for the security breakdown in the state. Because as at that time, you know that he has the paraphernalia of security with which to enforce security or to manage security situation in the state. But as it is today, you cannot tell me that you ask the governors to go and protect their state with what? With what? There is nothing that empowers them to do all of these things we are talking about.
Honorable, the Americans have a way of saying it that the buck stops on the president's table. Is our president passing the buck here?
Yes, the president. Of course, the buck stops on the president's table, but the president, yes, is passing the buck. But I expect him, in passing that buck to maybe the state governors, he should empower them with something constitutionally. I was going to say that the governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, said something recently, and he said, "We have cried enough. We are no longer going to be crying." Now, what that tends to me, the meaning I read out from that is we are coming to the state of self-help, jungle justice, every man for himself. And the very instance we are heading for that very area, then the country, God help us all.
And with all that is coming up now, for some people, again, commentators on matters of, the nation are saying that we may just be looking at Nigeria as a pariah nation. Do you see us getting there? Are we driving ourselves there?
Oh, well, I don't think we are getting there yet, but we are not far from it. That's when you say pariah nation, you remind me of the Abacha days. Nigeria was virtually isolated, but I don't think we've gotten to that stage yet. And I hope and pray that within the short period of time of 2 years of this government, we can come back from the brink we are now. And then, because as it is today, most of the countries of the world, I personally believe that we don't have the kind of respect and the kind of regards that we used to be given, whether on the African continent or even in the world at large, because they don't see us as, for me, they don't see us as a people who tend to be focused and practicing what they are talking about in terms of democracy.
The program is Perspectives, and it's coming to you on Invicta 98.9. And this morning we're looking at Democracy Day and how far we've been on the process. Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Adigun Gbadamosi is my guest this morning, a long-distance call to Ibadan in Oyo State, and we're looking at the issues. We'll have to go for a commercial break. Be back with you shortly. Welcome back. As the program Perspectives this morning, we're looking at Democracy Day and Nigeria and how democracy have far and from where we're coming now. And my guest this morning, Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Adigun Gbadamosi, is a retired federal civil servant, a member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Vice President, Jos Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, JASIMA, a commentator on national and international matters, also a public affairs analyst. We're looking at Democracy Day and where we've come with our own. Honorable, yes, democracy, in our democracy, from where we got it from, people say we're taking it from America. And one of the things that we're seeing with the democratic process there is that there is a vibrant opposition, so to say, a very strong opposition. You have the Democrats and the Republicans, of course, other parties that you still have, but these are, the strong parties that we see there. For us, since we started on this process, we've had very strong parties, but what we're getting now is that opposition is losing it. All members of the other parties have about jumped ship. And are we heading to a one-state party, and your concerns here about, the way we're going about it?
Okay. Well, I think, you see, part of the problems we have in this country is that when we copy things from other places, we do not copy it. We copy it to suit the interests we have as a people or individuals, rather than to suit the interests of the country and its people. The opposition in this country, as for me, has not acted properly as an opposition. But I do believe that there are room for improvement. And besides that, I think the level to which the opposition has acted maybe is the capacity with which they can function, as it were. But I expect the government of the day to also, even though the government of the day would want everybody to move into his party, because they want everybody to become APC or member. But that would be very unfortunate, because when you have a one-state system, it's as good as you don't have a democracy. Because what makes a democracy is for you to have a party in power and to have an opposition who will form a check on whatever the party in power is doing. So a situation where, and one of the fundamentals also of Nigeria is that our parties are not based on any form of ideology. People don't. You can see maybe in a place like the United Kingdom or the United States. In the United Kingdom, you have the Labour Party, you have the you have the other party now, forgotten the name, the Labour Party and the Conservatives. Now, all of them have different ideologies, and they stick to those ideologies, and they push those ideologies to the people, and the people accept these ideologies, and it is on the basis of that that they are voted in. The same thing is the case in the United States. You have the Republican and the Democrats, and both of them have different ideologies and goals for the people of the country, and it is on that basis that people vote for whoever the candidate, whichever candidate they want of those people. In the political space. But in this country, that is not the case. People could jump ship at any time because we do not have specific ideologies that are being pushed. I would say that maybe the country Nigeria has not developed to that level of political maturity, or has not attained that level of political maturity. That, I would say, is the reason for it. But also, I think it is in the interest of the party in power to have a very viable and strong opposition, so as to keep it on its toes to do the right thing.
Yes, I take you to another area now. That's about the representatives of the people. I want to look at the National Assembly in all of this, and how much we've seen them in this democratic process. For some people, this assembly as it is now, concerns are there and worries that it has not been fair and represented the people enough. And the arms of government that we have, executive, judiciary, and legislature, people are talking about yes men, to the executive who are there. And so doing the biddings of the executive. Are you satisfied with the level of representation that you see at the National Assembly?
Definitely not. I am not satisfied. I think the legislature in this country is very far detached from the feeling of the people and what the people are feeling and what is happening in the country. What I've seen in the legislature, at the Senate and the House of Rep, essentially has been a lot of talk, but no action, no concrete action. I expected, and I've continued to echo this over time, that as of today, the electoral reform bill ought to have been passed and presented to the president for endorsement, for his assent. But up to today, this is 2 years into a 4-year term, and the National Assembly has not, up to today, passed the Electoral Amendment Act, which will serve the purpose of having an election in 2023. Now, what was the reason why we did not have it signed the last time? The president said there were some errors in the Amendment Act. Then later on, he said the one that was brought later was too close to the election. Now, are we waiting until we are maybe 6 months or 3 months to the election before we get the Amendment Act into place? Now, these are the things that I feel that the assemblies are not. They are not connecting with the people, because one of the things that Nigerians are yearning for is to have an election act that can serve them better. Because I do say continuously that this government, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, came into power as a result of fundamental changes in the electoral reform. And these were the things that led to this government coming into power. And the government owes it a duty to better what it meant on ground. Now, that is on the one side. On the other side, you have an assembly that all they do is they do a lot of talk in the Senate, a lot of talk in the House of Rep, but I want to see concrete things put in place in the area of insecurity. The last we heard of the House of Rep was that they had a security summit. That was about 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. Now, the security summit, what has been the outcome of this summit? How has it benefited the Nigerian people? How has it stopped the level of insecurity in this country? These are points that we need to, the National Assembly needs to put on the table. Nigerians are crying and saying that appointments into government offices are lopsided. But this appointment will go through the Senate before it becomes confirmed. And the Senate is not doing anything to say, no, Mr. President, let us ensure that there is a balance. Let us ensure that there is national, you have a face of Nigeria to every appointment that we do. So these are areas where I feel the National Assembly is very much detached from the Nigerian state. And until they function properly on what they ought to do. And besides that, if maybe the president is not doing the right thing, the National Assembly has instruments within its laws establishing it to check the president. But that has not been the case. All that the National Assembly has done all the while is to say the president wants this and it is approved. The president wants that and it's approved. And nothing to the contrary to say, Mr. President, kindly account for what we have given you to do XYZ. We don't see those kind of accountability holding people, the executive accountable for what they are doing. And I think the National Assembly should do that more, because it's just a matter of time. By the time people start losing confidence in the National Assembly, that's where you start hearing the crowd, people telling you, let's scrap the Senate or let's scrap the House of Rep, because they'll feel that there isn't anything coming out of that place.
Okay, let's bring in the people now. Be part of this conversation. It's Democracy Day that we're talking about, Nigeria, and how far it has come with this democratic process. And let's get to hear your talks, your thoughts too on that, on numbers 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 800 989, 070 800 989. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Towing.
Good morning.
Yes, and good morning to your guest.
My
name is Mr. Fresh.
All right, Mr. Fresh. Right.
Yeah, I thank you so much for bringing this guest today. He has spoken very well. Really, I want to say something about the issue of appointment. When you look at it very well, appointment in this country is not reflecting the unity of Nigeria, but rather it shows that Nigeria has already been divided. Because you cannot remove somebody from so-so place or somebody from so-so place region retired and then bring in somebody from your own region. And also when the other person also is removed or retired, again you appoint some region. It is not done, and it is never a reflection of national unity, but rather disunity and also bringing a kind of confusion in the minds of the people. So I want to say here that I want to call on the president in subsequent appointment, in subsequent project, and any other thing that he wants to do, let it reflect national unity. Let him know that Nigeria is one. If really we want to keep the unity of the country, let appointment and any other project and whatever thing that will be done in Nigeria should reflect national unity.
Okay,
let every region know that we are together. We are part of the government.
Mr. Fresh, we got you on that. I will still taking more calls before we go back to our guest. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello?
Hello, my brother, good morning.
Good morning.
How's your family?
We're good.
Ogunwole is on the line.
Okay, Ogunwole, let's hear you.
You are blessed. My brother, you say people, you're not bent. You say you are looking up, you are not looking down. Let me tell you, something is missing in this country, which is love. In the absence of love, there will be no unity. About what my brother that dropped now, look at the appointment is one-sided, and we are calling ourselves one. In this country, where are we heading to? Our leaders should do the meaningful. See what is happening left and right. Killing left and right. Killing 50, 60. Not be like gold. And we have leaders in this country. Which leader is that? Military people are still ruling us. They wear guard on top of uniform. And we are saying democracy. Which kind of democracy? You cannot say, you cannot talk. You're killing people left and right. Where are we going?
Okay.
My brother.
Yeah.
It's better to do the meaningful now.
Okay.
All
Okay, Ogunwole there. We'll take one more and then we'll come back to our guest. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Awusko from Nasarawa.
Awusko, right?
Yes, sir, brother.
All right, let's hear you.
We thank God for democracy. Democracy is the best form of government. But from 2015, there's a drawback in our democracy. People who are not real Democrats are the helm. And our freedom is being trampled upon. Our security is no longer guaranteed. Killing everywhere, kidnapping everywhere, banditry everywhere, disunity. I want the president to manage our diversity so that this country will not explode. Thank you very much.
All right, Awusko, thank you very much. Okay, we'll come back to our guest. Honorable, three callers there, Mr. Fresh. Lopsided appointments, which does not reflect, does not give us a national face. Ogunwole too was on that, but one thing came out from what Ogunwole said. He said something is missing about us, and that's love. I feel so concerned about that here too. And Awusko is saying that managing our, diversity. Your concerns here.
The question, let me thank, first of all, thank those that called. I think it shows the concern for the country. You see, when you say love, who are those that are supposed to promote love amongst Nigerians? They are the political elites, starting from the president all the way down. And how do you do this? You need to show empathy for the other person in everything you do, whether in appointment, in projects, citing of projects, in citing of whatever infrastructural things you do all over the country. You need to show the sense of belonging to everybody that is in the country, that you are part of this system and nobody is above the other, nobody is subservient to the other. It is when you promote that, when the leadership of this country, when the political elites of this country promotes that, the followership will see it and then they will key in and they will follow. But when the leadership projects a division, the followership will widen the gap the more. And that is what exactly we're experiencing today. And I believe that we as a people, we must come to a time when we have to see how we bring ourselves together. Not just saying it verbally, but we must see all of these things in action. People, the government is practicing what it preaches.
Well, okay. That addresses all, right? Honorable, for Mr. Fresh, Ogunwole, and Awusko. Managing our diversity too. I'm concerned about that too here. Managing our diversity.
Let me add this. You see, the country Nigeria is a very blessed country. And the most unfortunate part of what we have is, with those who are leading us don't seem to see the beauty and what are the possibilities that could be achieved with the country Nigeria. If by the time we say each section should go its separate ways, we lose that thing that is in there that would have built a beautiful country, which is the diversity. Now, take for example, you have people in a place like Cross River State. I've been to Cross River State, a very beautiful place, very warm people, very nice people. Look at the tradition, the culture, and what you talk about in terms of tourist attraction that they have in there. You go to a place like Sokoto in the northwest, and you look at the people, very friendly, welcoming. You see the caliphate, very rich history. These are, and you can find all of this in every part of the country. Are you talking of the Kanem Borno Empire and the president Borno State, Yobe State, and Adamawa State? Beautiful people and culture. But we are not harnessing this, and we are not welding this country together. Until we start to do that, until we start to weld this country together, we will continue to have all this agitation of breakup and people wanting to go their separate ways. Nigeria is a beautiful country. Nigeria could be great and one of the best countries in the world, but it needs leaders that believe and have a very good vision for it.
Okay. We're still having some calls here too. Back with your calls. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tony.
Yes, good morning.
I'm John Aduku.
All right, John Aduku. Okay.
Yes. Your topic was very interesting. With your guest there, we believe that democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. When we talk of democracy, we talk of even development, justice, fairness, equity. What we are having, I'm arguing with him because he said the military and the democracy, that democracy is the best government. Let me tell you, when Babangida was in power, he built the Lagos mainland bridge. It did not take Babangida up to 2 years before he built Abuja to Kano. But in democracy, the delay is too much. Look at the road from Abuja to Lokoja was awarded nearly 20 years ago. That road has not been completed. That is democracy for you. The one now that Buhari awarded from Abuja to Kano is going in a snail speed. That road was supposed to be completed within 3 years, as Mr. President said. But from the way the work is going on, in the next 15 years, this road is not going to be completed. That is democracy for you. Then, I want to talk on people who are gunning for government. Look, in Nigeria, as long as we said people should not decamp or people should decamp, we must have an independent candidate. What is happening in Nigeria is not democracy. It is autocracy. Some people are mayors in their states. No other person can give advice and it is taken. They have become emperors. Let us have an independent candidate that knows either to join the one party or he comes out on his own in an election from the presidency down. Then to Capitol, let us come back to our ways of behavior. Everybody is running into the ruling party because of greed. It is the running from a PDP to APC that brought this administration. And every time the same PDP are accusing APC, they are not doing this, they are not doing that. Okay, right now, is it not the same PDP candidates that are running to APC? So where will you get the opposition? That is the predicament we are now going through. Okay. Let us be sincere to ourselves. We need a clean state.
Okay, John Aduku there. All right, we thank you on that. We still can take one more call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
I greet your guest. My name is Musa Bala.
Yes, Musa.
Yes, on the state of the nation, John Aduku has said to some extent, I respect his view. And as far as leadership of this country is concerned, we can say we are not there yet, but I can tell you that this administration, in terms of inclusion, more especially infrastructure development, no government have done it so. The statistics are there, and I had wished those group of people that are agitating or complaining of marginalization, they will have given us the statistics so that we see. But I'm assuring you, I will have the statistics. This government will more that it's balancing. Probably they are not comfortable with balancing their appointment. That is why they are complaining. But definitely, this administration in terms of appointment and even development is better than all the governments we have previously. We might not reach, well, we are not here where we wish we be, but it's better. Okay. And I want to pray that God give us leaders that will continue to lead this country, no matter where they come from and no matter their language or religion.
Okay. Musa Bala there. Okay, Honorable, coming to you. From the first caller, John Aduku, I saw a little bit of a pinch of benevolent dictatorship that he wanted to put in there. I don't know.
I would say that you see, let's tell Nigerians the truth. You see, there are people who over time have been in this country and have witnessed the military rule, and they have also done some studies on military rules elsewhere. Military rule cannot in any way be compared with a democracy. A democracy is far better at any point in time. In the military, you do not have a legislative arm. It is thrown out completely. So the executive becomes, that's the military itself becomes the legislature and the executive at the same time. And the judiciary becomes is at their mercy. So for any reason, I would not want anybody to promote or suggest the idea of a military rule. Please, that is very important. The situation in the country is not as if it's irredeemable. No, we just need our leaders to do a U-turn and be real. I think we need to be real, be in touch with the people on the ground. Because I do tell people, I say, see, you cannot tell me that somebody just stands up and starts to agitate just for the sake of agitating. No, Nigerians are not like that. Nigerians are some of the most simplest people you can think of. All they need is for you to give them the opportunities to succeed, and they don't mind who is head of state or governor. Nigerians just want to live their life in peace. That is what they want. So as much as possible, I will still enjoy our political elites. This problem, the problem of this country, stops on their table. They need to fix this problem. They need to promote unity amongst Nigerians. They need to close in the gaps, and all these divisions we are seeing will go away, and the agitations will go away, and we'll feel a sense of belonging.
I'd like to thank you for coming on the program with us this morning. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And that will just be about the size of the program perspectives this morning. And then we're looking at Nigeria's democracy and how far we've come with that. We've been talking with Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Adigun-Gbadamosi, a retired federal civil servant, member, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Vice President, Jos Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, JOSIMA. He's also a public affairs analyst and a commentator on national and international matters. It's been a long-distance call to Ibadan in Oyo State. Well, we hope you enjoyed this democracy. And, I go with the slogan. It came up in the 60s when we had the 67-70 war that to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. We're all stakeholders in our good morning. I'd like to thank Job and Wisdom for connecting me with the people this morning.